Good evening, MBE Skills and Strategies class. I will be handling question 6 under the pleading section. So my approach to solving multiple choice questions is to first start with the call of the question. And it's how should the court rule in the service of process issue? The rules of civil procedure provide a lot of things and nuances about service of process, but generally my understanding is that they fall under Rule 12b, asserting a defense to a service of process issue, or dealing with the actual service under Rule 4 in the summons section of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. So after I've looked at the call of the question, I would look at the fact pattern. And the fact pattern tells me that a plaintiff who's from State A filed a claim in the United States District Court for the District of State A, and he served process on the defendant in State B via certified mail. And this service by mail was allowed by the State A Rules of Civil Procedure. The defendant then files a motion to dismiss the action on the grounds that the State A court lacked personal jurisdiction. So I noted that here. So I first noted that he served by mail as allowed by mail in State A, and then D files a motion to dismiss for lack of PJ, personal jurisdiction. And that's a 12B defense, that's a 12B2. So then it says, the defendant then filed an answer addressing the merits of the complaint. The answer also contained a motion to dismiss the action for insufficient service of process. So now I know that the question is asking me about a 12B defense claim and whether or not that the answer that the defendant filed has a sufficient dismissal for lack of personal jurisdiction. So to run through comprehensively why the answers are right or wrong, and so then I start by looking at the answers, and I turn first to letter A, which says, denied the motion because the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure expressly permit service of process by certified mail. Well, yes, they do, but that's not necessarily the grounds for dismissing this motion, or the ruling on this motion to dismiss. And that's because the question is asking, or at least when I read it, is asking about the 12B defenses. The 12B motion to dismiss for insufficient service of process. That's 12B5. So while the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure do expressly permit it, this is not necessarily how they should rule on it, because service of process by mail is fine as long as the state allows it. The Federal Rules of Civil Procedure also permit state law for service of process. So then I move to the next question. I'll skip B, which is the right answer, and I'll go to C. Grant the motion because the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure do not authorize service by process or service of process by certified mail. That, like I said in answer A, the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure do allow service of process by certified mail. But that doesn't have to do with the motion to dismiss, because it's his claim that there was insufficient service of process. So D, it says, grant the motion because service by certified mail violates due process under these circumstances. Well, the rule for whether or not service of process does not comport with due process is the Mullane test, which says that as long as the service of process is reasonably calculated under the circumstances to give actual notice, service of process does satisfy due process. So I outlined here on the board why the other answers are wrong, because Rule 4E1 says that the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 4E1 says that service of process may comport or comply with authorized state law, even if in a federal venue. Now, the next part I outlined is his motion to dismiss, and this for lack of personal jurisdiction. And this is actually the problem here, because the Rules of Civil Procedure under Rule 12b say that you must raise the 12b2 through 5, which includes sufficient process and insufficient service of process. They must be raised in the defendant's answer or the defendant's pre-answer motion, whichever one comes first. And if they do not raise it in either of those, then they waive it. And so, because 12b5 is insufficient service of process, and the defendant did not raise that in his initial motion to the plaintiff where he tried to dismiss it for personal jurisdiction, which is 12b2, the court should dismiss the defendant's claim for for failure of insufficient service of process because he waived that defense. And so therefore the answer is B, deny the motion because the defendant waived any objection to service of process because he did not raise it in his first response to the plaintiff's claim. Thank you.